This is the Daily Tech News for Monday, May 19th, 2025. We tell you what you need to know, follow up on context, and my gosh, just try to help each other understand.
Today, Ina Kim tells us about the tech she uses to teach online, and Microsoft's big news from Build. Spoiler alert, it's agentic AI.
Really?
You would have never guessed, would you?
Huh. Look at that. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Robb Dunewood.
Let's start with what you need to know with the big story. It is Microsoft Build. Yeah, I know. Google I/O's tomorrow, Microsoft Build today. We're going to go through these and try to give you the context of why they might be important to your life, even if you're not an enterprise level person or a developer. Starting with Microsoft's Edge browser getting built-in PDF translation starting next month. So you can just pop a button if you're using the Edge browser and translate it. You can test it right now in the Canary version of Edge. There's also new APIs for taking advantage of cloud-based models for developers in the Edge, Canary, and Dev channels. That'll let them integrate models into web apps, including models like Microsoft's 5.4 Mini, which can operate locally. More web apps could give writing assistance and translation features, for example, in your website. And Edge users can now summarize Word, Excel, and PowerPoint documents right from the Edge sidebar. Edge for Business is going to let admins use intelligent block lists to be able to just describe the type of inappropriate sites they don't want their employees to load. That will be included in the education as well as the business premium licenses.
Microsoft announced that the $19 onboarding fees to publish the Microsoft Store will go away in June. It also plans to streamline the submission experience and let developers use new app campaigns to promote their apps in the store. You can also now push updates to legacy Win32 apps through the store. Microsoft says that it will continue to charge developers with apps on the Microsoft Store who use its commerce platform a 12% fee for games and 15% fee for apps. If you use your own payment system, you can keep 100% for non-games.
What a contrast to other app stores out there. And yeah, the Win32 thing is a great one. If you've ever tried to update and you're like, oh, I can't update this one through the Microsoft Store, this will make it a little easier to do some older game update or older app updates.
And clearly Microsoft wants people to put stuff on the store. Therefore, they're not going to charge you just to list it there. That is a welcome change.
Microsoft Discovery is a new platform that lets you use an agent to help speed up scientific discovery. There's some controversy among scientists of whether they want to use these or not, but there are similar products from Google, OpenAI, and Anthropic. And Microsoft also launched support for the open source Model Context Protocol, or MCP. This was introduced by Anthropic last year. MCP is often called the USB of AI. The way USB lets you plug anything into your device, this lets apps and agents talk to other apps and agents from other services, and now we'll let them talk to Windows. Windows is going to do this by having an MCP registry to secure the source of these kinds of servers that agents can access. And MCP servers will be able to access Windows file system, windowing, and the Windows subsystem for Linux, among other services. So if you're like, wait, I don't know what that means. An example is the Perplexity search engine could search files on your device on behalf of you using the same tools it uses to search the web. It comes with a protocol of security prompts to make sure that only agents you want to do stuff like this are getting access. Also, Windows AI Foundry is an expanded version of Windows Copilot Runtime that detects a Windows machine hardware and can fetch the necessary software to run a particular AI model. And Azure AI Foundry just added support for Grok 3 and Grok 3 Mini from XAI to its supported model list.
These agents are getting more and more complex in what they do, and it's both cool and it's kind of scary that they can do what they can do at the level at what they can do it.
Yeah, it's a big security concern, and Microsoft did a lot to explain what they're trying to do to secure this stuff. But the advantage is you'll be able to just use natural language to say, do this on my Windows machine, and it can do it.
Microsoft 365 Copilot tuning will integrate into Copilot Studio to make it easier to create agents without coding knowledge. It can use company data, workflows, and processes to train models for domain-specific tasks. Microsoft gave examples of legal firms or consultancies training agents to draft reports and arguments using the company's voice and institutional knowledge. Copilot Studio can also orchestrate multiple agents to share data and complete tasks together. Copilot tuning will be available in early adopter program in June.
Yeah, I think another example I could think of would be if you are in education. Let's say you're putting together a course load. You can point it at all of your previous syllabuses and your user data from your students and say, hey, I want to tweak the course to do this. And the agent can go and do a bunch of the tedious work for you there.
Yeah, it's really cool. And for those who don't really understand what these agents are doing, it's basically allowing you to just look at a specific set of data as compared to all data that the AI is collected from scraping everything across the internet. So you can be a little bit more specific. And it's just cool how you're able to just now talk to the agents to actually get the agents to do stuff.
Yeah. And you don't have to know the code. You just have to know what you want to do. Microsoft is open sourcing a lot of things today. It's lightweight cross-platform code editor GitHub Copilot in Visual Studio Code, now open source. There is also a PostgreSQL extension now for Visual Studio Code in preview. Also in preview, you can assign multiple development tasks to the GitHub Copilot agent. And GitHub Copilot is getting Java and .NET app modernization capabilities. So basically that means you can upgrade and modernize an app faster. You don't have to go through all of the steps. It will also make the Windows subsystem for Linux open source. That's available now on GitHub, finally closing that feature request. And there's also a tool in GitHub now to fix bugs and improve documentation. Finally, it also open sourced a command line text editor for Windows called Edit.
This is the stuff that built before 2.5 years ago that you always heard about. It was coding stuff. It wasn't, we didn't hear AI in here. These are what the tools can do for people who are still writing code, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and especially impressive to see that Microsoft of all people has become, champion of open sourcing so many things.
Microsoft 365 Copilot Wave 2 spring release is rolling out to commercial customers. The main changes are a new design for the Copilot app on Windows, Copilot notebooks for turning data into actions, image generation using GTP4o, and an agent store for work with agents from Jira, Monday.com, Miro, and others. Copilot search using corporate data and Copilot memory for keeping track of personal details and custom instructions will start rolling out in June.
And there's a lot more enterprise-oriented announcements, including Azure AI Foundry for building generative apps in Azure, Microsoft Entra Agent ID for assigning unique IDs to agents in the Entra directory. If you know what an Entra directory is, that's important. NL Web getting a lot of attention. NL Web can integrate a conversational interface into a website with just a few lines of code, so you can have a chatbot more easily in your website. Also, Azure AI Search and SQL Server 2025 were announced.
DTNS is made possible by you, the listener, thanks to Carmen Bailey, Chris Benetow, Jeffrey Zilks, and David Yakum.
There's still more to talk about today. Let's get right to the briefs.
We're announcing NVIDIA NVLink Fusion. NVLink Fusion is so that you can build semi-custom AI infrastructure.
NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang opened Computex in Taipei with the keynote announcing NVLink Fusion so customers can customize data centers to use NVIDIA high-speed links with non-NVIDIA chips like MediaTek and Marvell. Fujitsu and Qualcomm also plan to build custom CPUs to work with the NVIDIA system. That lets companies choose their own CPU inside the systems built by NVIDIA. Huang also noted a follow-up to Blackwell. The GB300 systems will arrive in Q3. He also announced an RTX Pro Surge system with 4 times the performance of the flagship H100 systems on DeepSeek and 1.7 times on Meta's Llama. And keeping the home crowd happy, NVIDIA announced a partnership with TSMC and Foxconn to build a supercomputer for Taiwan and a new office complex in Taipei. NVIDIA will also work with Acer, Asus, and Gigabyte to build desktop supercomputers.
Short version, Nvidia still trying to figure out ways to sell its chips to people building data centers in more and more ways, even if that means they have to not sell them the entire stack, right? They're going to figure that out.
They're going to figure it out because the company likes making money, and making money is what they're doing. So
and they're making a lot of it. At Computex, Intel also announced that it'll begin manufacturing its next generation of mobile processors. That's for laptops, codenamed Panther Lake, during the second half of this year. That'll deliver it to PC makers in early 2026. Intel demonstrated Panther Lake running in prototype PCs. It's expected to have the power consumption of Lunar Lake, so good efficiency. Intel also said the next generation desktop processors, Nova Lake, will arrive on time in 2026, so they are keeping their cadence up. Intel also launched its Arc Pro B series GPUs, including the $299 Arc Pro B50 with 16 gigabytes of VRAM and the $500 or so B60 with 24 gigabytes of VRAM. The chips are being sampled right now to partners and should arrive in the marketplace in Q3.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Intel does. I mean, they're under new leadership. They're doing things a little bit differently, and these seems like some pretty impressive, specs that they've got coming out.
Yeah, a lot of people were wanting to know about these GPUs. So even though we didn't get so many details, we got the details a lot of people have been waiting for.
Pharmaceutical company Regeneron has agreed to buy 23andMe out of bankruptcy. It expects to continue 23andMe's services uninterrupted. Regeneron will give the bankruptcy court ombudsman details on how it plans to use 23andMe consumer data and what privacy and security protections it will use. Regeneron says it will remain compliant with 23andMe's existing privacy policies. The deal is expected to close in Q3.
Yeah, this is the scenario a lot of people did not want to see happen. A pharmaceutical company get access to 23andMe's DNA database. Now the rubber meets the road as far as audits and, are these privacy and security principles going to stay in place? Are they going to make sure they're not improperly using this data? A lot of questions here.
I was not happy to see this type of company buy this. So I'm still on the record for saying this. If you have data in 23andMe, you probably should have already have checked it out. You might want to think about that now, because it may go to a company that you may not want it to go. It's going to go to a company you may not want it to go to.
Bloomberg's Mark Gurman and Drake Bennett have a lengthy article examining Apple's struggles with developing AI generative models. Justin Robert Young's going to discuss this at length in today's DTNS live stream. The highlights of the report include plans to let users in the European Union choose their default voice assistant other than Siri. So you could have Google or Amazon or something like that. The report also says Apple will likely not talk much about Siri during WWDC on June 9th. And the rest of the article discusses broader reasons why Apple may have fallen behind, including reservations from executive Craig Federighi and others that AI wasn't a core technology. One Apple executive was quoted as saying, "In the world of AI, you really don't know what the product is until you've done the investment. And that's not how Apple is wired. Apple sits down to build a product knowing what the end game is." The report also says Apple intends to separate Siri from its Apple Intelligence marketing and stop promoting capabilities until they're closer to launch.
China state-backed Huaneng Group has deployed more than 100 all-electric autonomous trucks in an open-pit coal mine in Yemen, Inner Mongolia. The cabless trucks use Huawei's 5G advanced network and commercial vehicle autonomous driving cloud service. Is believed to be the largest fleet of unmanned mining trucks in the world.
Epic said it used its EU account to submit the Fortnite app for approval in the US App Store, but Apple had not accepted it. So Epic pulled Fortnite on iOS from all iOS app stores, including its own and another third-party app store in Europe. We told you about that at the end of last week. Since we talked, Apple has said it asked Epic to, quote, resubmit the app update without including the US storefront of the App Store so as not to impact Fortnite in other geographies. That seems to imply that Apple will not approve Fortnite in the United States. So Epic has filed a complaint asking Judge Yvonne Gonzalez-Rogers to require that Apple, quote, accept any compliant version of Fortnite onto the U.S. storefront of the App Store. Now, the wrinkle here is that the judge did find that Apple was justified in suspending Epic's U.S. account for violating policies. And while the judge recently chastised Apple for its non-compliance of an order to let apps link out to third-party systems, she may not be favorable to Epic on this one.
It seems like Apple and Epic, at least up until this point, have just decided we are not going to cooperate with each other. We are going to basically do whatever we can do to just bother each other and take
Hmm.
everything to court, which is not good for either company. And it's definitely not good for consumers of Apple products, consumers of Epic products. So hopefully they come to their senses and get this stuff figured out.
Yeah, there's no slack here. Apple could say, oh, all right, we'll let the EU one be worldwide, but they're not. They're saying, your US developer account is still technically suspended, so we're not going to let anything from you show up in the US account. They're not playing nice with each other.
They are definitely not. China's industrial robot production grew 51.5% year over year in April, according to China's National Bureau of Statistics. China still lags behind countries like South Korea in the number of robots per worker. China has 97 per 10,000 workers to South Korea's 631. Beijing Economic Technological Development Area's Deputy Director Ling Ling said that in an interview that he does not believe that humanoid robots will replace human workers, but instead boost productivity and operate in hazardous environments.
All right, those are the essentials for today. Let's dive a little deeper.
Duolingo recently announced it's launching 148 new language courses. Google just announced 3 new experimental tools for teaching languages. Is there room for human teaching languages any longer on the internet? Yes, Tom Khanna with his Korean teacher to talk about it and her approach to online learning.
Ida Kim, thank you for joining me on Daily Tech News Show. This is so much fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for the invite. I'm really excited to talk about all the tools and tech I use to run Korean classes.
Yeah, and I'm used to being on the other end of this, where I sit and listen to you talk
Yeah.
on the courses that we do over Zoom. But tell a little bit to people about what you do.
Yeah. I am Aina. I'm the founder of Korean with Aina. And also, I'm an inspiring teacher and content creator and a cheerleader for my students. I help my students pretty much from all over the world learn Korean in a fun and engaging way online. So I had to bring together a lot of tools over the last few years to figure out the best tools for my students to learn online.
So yeah, take us through some of the technology that you use to get people to do this, because it was impressive to me to learn all the different things you use. And I know when you were preparing for our talk, you found out that you use a lot more than you think.
I know. So I sat down and I was like writing all the softwares and platforms I use, and there was like an endless list, more than 10. So I was quite surprised, and I decided to categorize them into 5 different categories because I'm not just teaching live classes, but there's like self paced courses, and there's something that I use for my master class, and there's something that I use to build my website, and there were kind of different categories, right? So I just wanted to categorize them and walk us through different platforms like that.
Okay, so give us the first category.
First category is live classes, the Zoom class that I run. So for my live classes, I use, let's see, one, two, three, four, five platforms. The first one is Zoom and Zoom Storage. There are kind of 2 different things that you have to subscribe to.
Okay, so
Zoom, and then within
two
that,
different products from Zoom, right?
products from
Yeah,
Zoom. You're
yeah,
right.
okay.
And Zoom is the main platform for hosting live group classes. I also store class recordings there, and they do a really good job with that. So students can rewatch the recording anytime if they miss a session. And everybody knows Zoom. But you'll be surprised, there's always like 1 or 2 students. It's their first time using Zoom as well. So, but when they come online with the link, they're like, wow, so cool to meet everybody on Zoom.
Yeah, you would think everybody during 2020 would have ended up using Zoom, but there's still some new folks out there.
Yeah, and it's really also cool way to introduce people who are not used to this into this new world because they can connect in whole new different level, you know?
Now, I think I probably know a couple of the others since I've taken your live classes, but tell us the other parts of the technology for live.
Oh yeah, and then I use Google Classroom, and that's like my home base for organizing live class materials like assignments, weekly links, and announcements all go in there in one place. And think of it like a virtual classroom. And
Yeah.
Google Yeah, it's like a free platform we use. We come online to keep things streamlined for students who want everything in one place.
Yeah, I found it to be extremely helpful. And it was my first time using Google Classroom when I used it the first time I took one of your courses. And it's really, really well organized and easy to find things.
Yeah. And all the schools, like public schools and private schools, they use Google Classroom. And that's where I learned it because I come from teaching third graders.
So from Zoom Storage, Google Classroom, what else we got?
We also use Nearpod. This is actually my favorite platform. And also, this one is from my third graders. It's my go to for interactive slides. Students can click on it, draw on it, respond, and engage during class, which makes it great for visual learners and for two-way learning. I don't want the slides to be just about me, but when my slides move, their slides move on their computer with a simple code that they have to type in when they enter.
Yeah, it was really convenient. I would put that on a tablet and then I'd have Zoom on my laptop and Nearpod on my tablet. And so even when you had taken over the whole screen on Zoom, I could still see the slides that we were talking about.
That's a really good idea. You should have told me earlier. I always tell my students to log in through desktop, so they were like, which screen? That's a really good idea. I'll recommend that.
And then what's the last one in the live classes category?
Two more
Oh, it
actually.
was two more.
It's
Okay. Oh, right. Because
Quizlet.
Zoom was one.
Yeah,
Quizlet. Yeah.
Quizlet to create vocabulary games and review sets based on like what we learned in class. And then we have Seesaw. That's well, I used to use Flip, but Flip is now gone. So I use Seesaw to give homework that they can record themselves on a video to upload because it's a language class.
Yeah, there's two kinds of homework you do. I know very well. There's the Google Docs one where you're, rather what people think of as homework, right? Answering questions and filling things out. But I really liked being able to do video where I recorded myself talking and uploaded to Flip at first and now Seesaw.
Yeah, and students are able to see each other. So I think that's another good part that they get to know each other outside of class using Seesaw and looking at other people's videos.
All right. Is that all the live class technology?
That's it. That's all I
Okay.
use for live.
What's our other categories?
Second category is self-paced courses. So some people are not available to come on live all the time, so they get my self-paced courses, meaning they will watch my videos to learn Korean. And to do this, I had to really research a lot about what tech I need to use to host this. And I want it to be most student friendly as possible. So the first one that I use is Kajabi.
How do
Have
you
you heard
spell
of
that?
Kajabi?
Okay.
Kajabi.
Got it.
It's a main platform where my self-paced courses and are coming to life, and it hosts all the video lessons and ebooks and downloads in one clean space. And I chose this because students interface is the best. It's easier than YouTube, I would say. They
Oh, yeah.
click the modules, everything is organized in one place. I love it. Only downside of Kajabi is it's really expensive to subscribe.
Hmm. And
Yeah,
so the students have to subscribe to it as well, or it's just expensive for you to subscribe
for
to?
me.
Ah, gotcha.
Just as a
Okay.
host to
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
it's really expensive, but I think it's amazing for students.
Is that it in the self-paced courses, or are there
I
others there?
have two more that I
Okay.
use. Second one is Loom. Have you heard of that?
I
L O O
have. I don't
M.
know much about it, but it's just LOOM, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
LOOM. It's like room, but Loom.
Mm-hmm.
So Loom helps me record quick walkthroughs as I share my screen. It's kind of like StreamYard, but it's
Mm.
a recording platform.
Okay.
So you go online and then you share your screen, but there's also your face camera too. So it's really helpful to film any self-paced materials and tutorials as well.
So you've got Kajabi for managing the course. You've got Loom for recording the lectures. What's the last one?
And the last one is Capwing. Not many people know about this.
Ah,
Kapwing.
what
Capwing.
what is Capwing?
Catwing is my editing platform that I use.
Ah,
It is one of the easiest
really?
platform. I don't like something that's too complicated for editing my videos. So I had to do lots of research and try this and that. But this is probably the easiest it can get for someone who's not that tech savvy, you know? So I recommend Capwing if you have any videos for short, long, whatever video that you want to edit.
So instead of CapCut or something like Final Cut or something like that, this is just a simpler, easier way to do it. Looks
Yes,
like it.
Final
I'm about
Cut
to
was
check this
too
out. Oh
complicated for
yeah,
me.
it's too complicated for most uses, honestly.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
CapCut, you know how it's really simple. Capwing is just like that, but it's like a little bit more convenient because Capwing gives you team collaboration feature, just like Google Drive. When I'm
Oh,
editing something, my teammate can come in and edit the same video just like Google Drive.
I see. Oh, that's great. All right. So what do we have left now besides live classes and self-paced courses?
Okay, the third category is my ebooks and curriculum design.
Mm-hmm.
So I also sell my ebooks and they are all made in Canva. Canva is a very popular platform that
Oh yeah.
everybody uses. And I design flashcards, ebooks, and course visuals. All of that come to life on Canva. And I also use Google Slides to design my curriculum, but kind of together with Canva. So
Mm-hmm.
Canva and Google Slides, they're the best. And thirdly, because I have ebooks on my website and I have so many students and audience people that they ask me all the time, where is the link? Where is the link? And I get like 300 comments a day,
Mm-hmm.
like across all platforms. And I couldn't answer all of that. So I incorporated recently ManyChat. Have you heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's so cool. So ManyChat is like more recent tool, but like a lot of content creators are using this ManyChat, like many chat.
Oh, like a bunch of chats. Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Mini chat.
So it's a messaging tool I use mostly on Instagram and Facebook, but it doesn't work really on Facebook, only on Instagram.
Mm.
So basically, when they comment a trigger word, they will automatically DM the person the link.
That's
For
great.
example, I can say comment resource, and then you'll get a specific link that I tie together with that trigger word. And it's one of the best tools
That is
because
so useful. Yeah.
useful. I don't have to send out like 300 people the
Uh-huh.
same thing.
Yeah. For me, it would be how do I get the RSS feed? That I might need to use this for. That's really good.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap up, any others to mention?
I think just one last thing is for my website.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My website, I use Wix, and under Wix has Wix emails. That's like two different products. Wix is the platform where my website is built, and Wix emails is what I use for my announcements and newsletters. And they have really cute templates, and I love how organized it is.
That's fantastic. So I've already learned a couple of things. I'm going to check out Capwing. I'm going to check out ManyChat. I'm sure a lot of folks have gotten some good ideas for their own creative enterprises, or if they're also teachers. When I know we have some teachers in the audience that might want to look at some of these. So I'll make sure to have a list of all of this in our show notes at dailytechnewsshow.com. Ina, thanks for taking us through your technology. This is really helpful.
Yeah, thank you so much. And because of this opportunity, as I was preparing for, like what tools I use and for this interview, I was actually able to kind of pause and reflect back on like how thankful I am for all these softwares and platforms and how these tech tools are helping us connect from all over the world to learn Korean. So thank you
Yeah.
so much and thank
Oh,
you for listening.
no, sure. Oh, absolutely. Thank you for talking with us. Thank you for teaching me Korean as
Yeah.
well. If people want to find what you're doing, if they're like, you know what, I'm interested in finding out about this, I maybe want to learn Korean. Where should they go?
They can go to YouTube and search Korean with Aina, or Instagram or TikTok and just type my brand Korean with Aina.
It's INA, Korean with Ina. Ina Kim.
Yeah.
감사합니다.
감사합니다, Tom. It's so good to see you in a different platform like this. It's like a totally different vibe. Like Tom was already like a podcast, good voice student in my class, but seeing in this kind of angle, like he's even more professional and amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. You are too. I really appreciate you talking with us again today.
Thank you so much for the invite. I really enjoyed it.
You can join in the conversation in our Discord, which you can join by linking to a Patreon account at patreon.com/DTNS.
We end every episode of DTNS with some shared wisdom. Today, Steve has another example of Android accessibility.
Yeah, Steve writes, I have to point out the Live Transcribe app jointly developed by Google and Gallaudet University. Yes, for deaf, not blind, but still. It was almost literally a lifesaver when I took my then 90-year-old mom to the ER a few years ago. She is nearly deaf, even with hearing aids, and the transcription through that app on my Android phone was critical for communicating with her. Immediately after that hospital visit, I got an inexpensive Android tablet and set it up with that app for her. That app is not available in the Apple ecosystem, and even though lots of things transcribe these days, it is still what she relies on. Accompanying her to various appointments, I've had many medical professionals ask me for the details so they can get it for other elderly and hard of hearing patients. Best as always, and thanks for DTNS, Steve.
What are you thinking about? Got some insights into a story? Share it with us at feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com.
Big thanks to my teacher, Sungsangnim Ina Kim, and to Steve for contributing to today's show. Thank you for being along for Daily Tech News Show. The show is made possible by our patrons at patreon.com/DTNS.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.